After a 27-14 loss to the New England Patriots under the prime time lights, New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn did not dismiss the potential of a change at the quarterback position. Will the first-year head coach bench Justin Fields? We'll talk about that and much more, all coming up here on a Saturday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk.
This is NY Flight Jets Talk with Connor Long. NY Flight Jets Talk. We're talking Jets, 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 Jets. NY Flight Jets Talk with special guests. NY Flight Jets Talk. Here's your host, Connor Long. Jets, 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 Jets.
You are listening to NY Flight Jets Talk. Here's your host, Connor Long.
Yes, you are, in fact, listening to NY Flight Jets Talk, streaming live right here on YouTube and Twitter. What is going on, New York Jet fans? Hello, everyone. Welcome into the show as we come to you guys live right here on this Saturday afternoon, November 15th, 2025. Be sure to drop down below, smash that like button, hit subscribe. That is the free way to support us and what we're doing right here on the show. Questions, your comments, your thoughts, throw all of those in the live chat for us to get to. We want to engage with you guys. We want to hear what you have to say. So be sure to load all of your questions, your comments, your thoughts up in the chat. You guys can call into the show with the pinned comment at the top of the chat, the pinned link in the video description down below as well. If you guys want to get up here on the screen and give your takes, we appreciate the hell out of you guys. We appreciate your support. As always, don't forget about the paid way to support us right here on the show and help us grow. You can get your super chats in. If you super chat a question in that comment, we'll cut the line and we will get to that immediately. You can also give memberships as part of the other paid way to help us grow. But most importantly, smash like, hit subscribe, because that is free. And again, load up all of your questions, your comments, your thoughts in the chat for us to get to, folks. 27-14, the final score under the primetime lights. New York Jets versus the New England Patriots. And we haven't done a show since then. I was not around to do a post-game show after the fact. It was a super late game. And then yesterday, I was supposed to do a show with Michael Nadia, and I was so tired, I slept through the alarm that I set to do my show. I was napping. That's how tired I was. Took a nap about 2 hours before the show started, and I set multiple alarms leading up to the show to make sure that I was awake and I was ready to come on and talk Jets. And ultimately, I slept through those alarms, and I woke up and I looked at my phone, and it was 7:50, I believe it was, something like that. So 20 minutes after the start time, and it's like, you know what, we got to just cancel the show, and we'll do a Saturday afternoon show. So here we are. I was unable to give my initial thoughts on the game, so I'll share those with you guys right now. The Jets just didn't have the talent to be in the game. Point blank period. The Patriots are a more polished team, as we saw, a far more talented team than this New York Jets roster. I understand they got off to the 7-0 lead. There are certainly some criticisms to be tossed around from Thursday night's game, i.e., why did the Jets move off of Justin Fields' legs? Aaron Glenn was speaking to reporters after the game, and he was like, oh, we didn't want to put him in harm's way. That was the exact quote that Aaron Glenn gave reporters. And look, I think that's a lame excuse. Justin Fields' legs were working. That is how the Jets' offense was functional for the first few possessions of the game, and the Jets just turned away from that. They got off to a 7-0 lead thanks to Fields' ability to take off, do it with his legs. Breece Hall utilizing his legs on the ground as well. And the Jets just fully turned away from that after, and everything went downhill for New York ever since. There wasn't a point in this game where I felt the Jets were getting blown out of the water, where I felt that they were getting their teeth kicked in, or that they were getting embarrassed. The Jets were in this game. They were. It just came down for me how undisciplined they were and turning away from Justin Fields' legs. The too many men on the field penalty after a TV timeout was laughable. Absolutely. Like, how do you let that happen? Someone please explain to me how you let that happen. A TV timeout, all the time in the world to reset, and you get dinged for too many men on the field. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. in the secondary, whose Jets tenure I thought got off to a very, very, very good start. His first few games with the Jets, he was not great against the Browns last week, and he was terrible on Thursday night against the New England Patriots. 3 penalties he surrendered. He allowed all 5 of the targets in coverage and thrown his way to be completed for 77 yards. So the 3 penalties on top of just letting guys run free, not a great game out of him. And man, people can point to the stat line and say Fields played well. He really didn't, though. He really didn't. That fumble was ridiculous that he let just fall into the hands of the New England Patriots. Josh Myers was not great at all. He had multiple low snaps and that fumble that Justin Fields kind of muffed the low snap. But the problem with Fields on that play, I went back and watched it now on all 22 as well, is his thought process was, okay, I'm going to try to just pick the ball up and make a play. I want to be Superman, because that's who Justin Fields has been throughout his college career, throughout the first, 4 or 5 plus seasons in the NFL. He's tried to be Superman when he doesn't need to be, and that play encapsulated just that. He should have just fallen on that ball, and he could have. If he just put his body on top of that football, the Jets would have remained possession there, and who knows what happens the rest of the drive, how that could potentially change the game, because let's not act like the Jets were blown out. They lost by 13 points, and they had a 7-0 lead against the New England Patriots, who are 9-2. So let's not act like the Jets were entirely out of the Patriots league. Again, the Jets are not nearly as talented as the Patriots, but also let's keep in mind here, Will McDonald was playing limited snaps, dealing with a quad injury. Azareye'h Thomas was out. Jarvis Brownlee was horrific. Like, the defense certainly didn't have any help on their sides. The injury bug wasn't on their side. This was their first real test after trading away Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams just a few weeks ago. So people could point to Drake May's performance and say the defense was awful. Sure, they weren't great. There were certainly areas where they can improve. But at the end of the day, Drake May is the front runner for the league's MVP award for a reason, folks. He's ripped apart so many good defenses this year. The Browns threw for 3 touchdowns against them, over 280 yards. Like, relative to what the Jets were dealing with defensively entering Thursday night's game, it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. Again, wasn't pretty, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. And after this team's performance, after Justin Fields' performance in particular on Thursday night, Aaron Glenn's getting a lot of questions because everything was kind of put off to the side these past 2 weeks. The Jets won 2 straight games with the bye week wedged in between. There weren't many negative headlines every day, at least constantly, about this team. But now, after the loss on Thursday Night Football, Glenn is getting some heat. And speaking to reporters yesterday, a day after the game, Aaron Glenn was asked about the possibility for a potential quarterback change and if he would consider making a change under center and how he views a potential change. Here's a listen.
This is, what other coaches' decisions are. But, man, I want to make the decision to give us a chance to win. And, whatever that evaluation process has come out to, just know that the reason why I make decisions that I make because it gives us the best chance to win.
You heard it there from Glenn. He wants to win. And if he wants to win, he has to bench Justin Fields. He does. Justin Fields is way too inconsistent of a quarterback. You just don't know what you're getting with him week in and week out. You don't. And if you want to win football games, like Aaron Glenn is saying, you have to turn to Tyrod Taylor. Fields is not an NFL quarterback anymore. We can say that. Justin Fields is not an NFL caliber quarterback. He is way too inconsistent. You don't know what you're getting out of him. He can have a performance like he did in Cincinnati, throwing for over 240 yards, threading the needle, making a difference with his legs, feeding off of Breece Hall. Or you could get the Justin Fields you saw against the Cleveland Browns and then the Patriots game kind of wedged in between there when you talk about his performance. So when you talk about Justin Fields and him giving you the best chance to win, and the Jets potentially making a quarterback change based on that, the Jets have to turn to Tyrod Taylor if they truly, in their heart of hearts, want to win football games. Now, I think the experiment, rolling the dice on Justin Fields, was the smart move this offseason. I think we can all agree that the team was robbed on the contract. I was not a fan of the contract at the time, giving a guy like Fields $30 million guaranteed over the course of 2 seasons, worth up to $40 million. I was not a fan of the contract, but I thought the thought process of, hey, let's get a guy in here who can use his legs, who is mobile, who can create plays for us. And you don't know, he has the former first round pick pedigree. He could potentially be a difference maker here. It hasn't been the case, and the Jets need to pivot. They do. They need to start Tyrod Taylor. I was clamoring about it all week long. I think they should have started him on Thursday night. Obviously, that wasn't the case. But again, if the Jets are really authentic about winning every game humanly possible, Justin Fields isn't their guy the rest of the way. He just isn't. I'm going to pull up this stat here from Justin Freed of the Jet Press that really amplifies how bad Fields has been this year. When you filter out garbage time, Fields has the lowest EPA per play of any qualified quarterback this season. Also, might I add, Fields has the 7th highest wide open rate, which is the percent of snaps where targeted wide receiver was wide open in the NFL. There's no excuse for that. He has guys running wide open all the way downfield. He is not only taking too long to get the ball out of his hands, he's hesitating. He is missing guys wide open, as we saw on Thursday night. Now, look, Adonai Mitchell was not perfect under any measure in his Jets debut. However, there were some throws that Justin Fields targeted Adonai Mitchell with that were just uncatchable. The deep ball that would have gone for over a 40-yard completion, you couldn't have asked for anything better out of Justin Fields there. You can't, you couldn't have asked for anything better out of Fields. He put the ball up there. It was kind of a 50-50 jump ball. And, Adonai Mitchell, who is known for his speed, working on his physicality, like, I think he should have caught that. I think we can agree that he should have caught that. But there were multiple throws to Mitchell. One where the Jets were backed up all the way in their own territory, and he just sailed it. Just sailed it right into the ground in front of Mitchell. There was a drop that Mitchell had as well. Overall, the consensus that I'm coming to is that Justin Fields needs to do a better job of hitting his receivers in stride and just completing passes. If you're not going to use his legs, he has no value. Let's call it spade for spade. He has no value at all as an NFL quarterback if you're not going to use his legs. And the Jets seemingly don't want to use his legs for whatever reason. A reason that Aaron Glenn described as putting him in harm's way. What is the point of having Justin Fields if you're not going to use his legs? That's like saying, all right, we're going to bring back Aaron Rodgers, talking from a Jets perspective. We're going to bring back Aaron Rodgers, but we're going to have him scramble 20 times a game and only throw the ball 15 out of his 35 dropbacks. Like, it just makes no sense. Aaron Glenn talked about coaching up Justin Fields. Oh, he's never been coached before. That was the whole thing this offseason. He's never been properly coached before. He's never been put in a proper offensive system to truly go out and have success. The Jets haven't done Fields any favors. They really haven't. They've shied away from his legs. They've tried to put him into this box of, you're only going to throw the ball for us. And I'm not saying Justin Fields is a good quarterback. He is not. We've learned that now. He's not an NFL quarterback. We can come to that consensus 4.5 years into his NFL career. But why isn't he using his legs? Like, again, it worked on Thursday night. It did. When the Jets relied on Fields and his rushing ability, their offense was firing on all cylinders. They were in that game against New England, and then they shy away from it, and that's where the game started to get out of reach. So I'll never understand why the Jets didn't continue to just go to the well with Justin Fields on the ground. I'll never understand that. If the Jets' number one goal is getting the number one overall pick, then leave Justin Fields out there, I guess. But if Aaron Glenn is stating the truth when he says this team wants to win football games. They have no other option but Tyrod Taylor. No other option. And the thought process that a quarterback is just going to come in this offseason, whether it's a bridge guy, someone they trade for, someone they sign in free agency, or someone they take with their first round draft pick, the idea that they're just going to come in and be the saving grace, I think is ridiculous. Look, this offense has talent. They have pieces. They have infrastructure for a quarterback to come in and have an ample amount of success. And I've been a proponent that rebuilds don't take forever. But you have to sit and realize, like, is Aaron Glenn going to be able to get it right? Is he going to be able to take the right quarterback in April? Is he? Because all that reporters covering this team, all that fans rooting for this team have seen, just poor quarterback evaluation by Aaron Glenn. And the Justin Fields thing this offseason, signing him and him potentially working out and being the guy, was not in the Jets' favor. That was a calculated risk by the Jets. But Glenn has not turned away from him at times that he should have. Aaron Glenn has stood by him despite terrible, terrible, terrible performances. You have to adapt. That's the name of the game in the NFL. Adaptability. Glenn has struggled to do that at the quarterback position. Glenn has struggled to do that at several other positions across the depth chart. That's the big question. Is he going to get the quarterback right in April? And people are talking about Fernando Mendoza, who did play a great game today against a very, very bad Wisconsin team. 22 of 24, 299 yards, 4 touchdowns, more touchdowns than incompletions. I get it. He played a great game. I'm a Fernando Mendoza fan. I like Fernando Mendoza. But the idea, one, that the Jets are just going to draft this guy, which I don't think is a foregone conclusion. It depends where the Jets finish in the draft order. As of now, according to Tankathon, if the season ends today, Jets would have the third overall pick. But at the end of the day, the idea that a Fernando Mendoza, the idea that a Ty Simpson is just going to come in here and all the issues are going to go away overnight, I think is overblown. Are they a quarterback away? That's the question you have to ask yourself. I don't think they're a quarterback away. I really, really don't. Now, I don't think they're as far away as most people say they are. I think the Jets are a better, a more talented team than a lot of people give them credit for. But I think the idea, again, that the Jets are just going to draft a quarterback in April and all the problems are going to go away overnight, I think that's just wishful thinking. I just don't think that's a reality at the end of the day. I really, really don't. So the Jets are in a really interesting situation. They're going to take a quarterback in April. I really, really do think that. Could they wait until 2027? Sure. I think they will take someone in April, though. Whether that is in the first round, whether that is the guy they're riding and dying by, or that is a late round dart throw, I'm under the belief that the Jets will take at least one quarterback in April's draft. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason for the Jets. It's going to be intriguing to see what they do with all this cap space that they're going to have. It's going to be intriguing to see what they do with the influx of draft picks that they have. And most importantly, the future at the quarterback position. Because the Jets can go in a lot of different directions there. They could technically bring Fields back. He's under contract for next season. I think that would be an awful decision, whether he's going to be a starter or a backup. Fields, get him out. I think that's what they need to do. I don't think they really can justify bringing Justin Fields back at all. At all. In any role, in any capacity, you can't. You have to reset. Whether that's bringing in someone like Marcus Mariota in free agency, whether that's trading for a guy like Mac Jones, who I just wrote about in a JetX column as someone who I think would make a lot of sense for the Jets to trade for. I could do a whole other show on that, and we're going to discuss it on one of our coming live streams. So I'm going to save that topic for another time. The idea of the Jets trying to, potentially go all in on a quarterback who's already in the league. The Jets could go in so many different directions right now with the quarterback position, but they can't stay pat. That's their one thing. They can't just do nothing. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason. And most importantly, at the quarterback position. Smash the like, hit subscribe. I'm Connor Long right here with you guys on a Saturday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. We're going to get to those about 20 plus minutes into the show. We got 327 of you guys watching us live. We appreciate it again. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. That's the free way to support us and what we are doing right here on NY Flight Jets Talk, baby. We appreciate that. A lot of you guys. We appreciate your support as always. We're going to get to you guys in the chat. So load again all your questions, your comments, your thoughts up in the chat. We'll end with a Q&A. So we'll go through whatever's in the chat, then we'll call it a day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. The Next Gen Jets show, given that the Jets played Thursday, will be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a day later, thanks to the Jets playing on Thursday Night Football. Rover in the chat says we must trade for Will Levis. Tons of potential. Now, Rover, I can't tell if you're being serious here, but if you are, I respectfully disagree. Will Levis makes no sense for this team. I am in the boat that they have to draft a quarterback. Whether it's this year or next year, they have to draft a quarterback no matter what. I don't think Will Levis makes sense as a bridge option. I can name about 15 guys, 10 guys who are free agents or trade candidates this offseason who I'd rather add before I even thought of Will Levis. He's done. Will Levis is done. He's had his chance. Granted, it's been with a bad team, but he is not getting another starting opportunity for a little while, and I think that's justified. I do. And why would you try to reset a guy's career in New York? I think when you talk about the bridge route, they need someone who is cost effective. I think they need someone who is efficient, and I think they need someone who could legitimately win games for them, not just another shot in the dark. And I don't think Will Levis can win any games for the New York Jets. King Jamie in the building. DTN in the building. Shout out to you guys. What's up, Bill? Good to see you. Alan in the building says Lenore Sellers equals brutal. So Lenore Sellers is really interesting. He's going to stay in school for another year if I had to make a prediction. And I think that's the best thing that could have happened to him. I really do. If he came out this year, you're looking at, a day 2, a day 3 pick. I think that's who Lenore Sellers is, and it all comes back to inconsistency. Reminds me a lot of Anthony Richardson, those similar flaws. Reminds me a lot of Justin Fields, those similar flaws. Consistency from accuracy to interceptions to yards per attempt to sacks to decision-making to hesitation. They have marred Lenore Sellers' collegiate career, particularly this season. So he needs to reset, whether that's at South Carolina or another school next year. He needs to stay at least one more year in college before he decides to come out and declare for the NFL draft. Christopher says, Connor, Fields is an NFL quarterback. Why we signed him in the first place? You can agree to disagree on this. We had a whole offseason to debate about it. I was in the boat that I thought Justin Fields was the best option for the Jets when it comes to where their roster stood. This was an experiment year. We all knew that going in. And I thought Justin Fields was the perfect quarterback to pair with that experiment, right? Because I think this is the worst case scenario we predicted for Fields. But the best case is you had your guy. Maybe not a franchise guy, but someone who could be here for a few years and kind of guide this team to maybe a winning record over that span. That certainly hasn't been the case. But I think that was the calculated risk that the Jets took, and they knew they were going to take by going into that situation. Thomas Sandler. AG is hurting the growth of our young playmakers by starting Fields. Got to get Mason Taylor, Arian Smith, AD Mitchell, and Mechie the ball. Well, they targeted AD Mitchell a ton on Thursday night. That was his first game with the Jets as well, because keep in mind he was a healthy scratch against the Browns. So I think they went to the well enough with AD Mitchell. John Mechie had a touchdown. I really like what I've seen out of John Mechie. He's a guy who can get open, who can get separation, use his speed. I really, really like what I saw to both AD and John on Thursday night. AD Mitchell just has to hold on to the ball. Simple. He's getting open. He's using his speed. He's getting downfield. Now the easiest part is hold on to the football. Arian Smith, he is just in the doghouse right now. Like, I don't think he was targeted on Thursday night. We barely saw him on the field. Mason Taylor continues to get open. If you look back and watch the film, you'll see the difference that he's making. It doesn't come up on the initial stat sheet, but watching the film, he's running wide open downfield. Justin Fields just can't get the ball to him, which is an issue again. And I think that's why you raised such a great point, Thomas. Like, for the evaluation of this roster and the growth of these young players, like you mentioned, they have to put Tyrod Taylor in there. Add that to the list as another reason as to why Justin Fields could be benched. Jacob says, how confident are you that they can pick and develop the right guy at QB after severely missing on Fields? Absolutely no Kyler or Lawrence. I agree with the second part of that. Absolutely no for me as well on Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, or Trevor Lawrence when you talk about a trade, potential trade options there. Look, it's hard to be very confident, and that's an issue I pointed out earlier on in the show, Jacob, right? Because not only did Glenn miss on Fields in the offseason, but his evaluation of Fields' performance ever since and his decision to not bench him and stick with him, that's raised even more questions about his ability to evaluate quarterback play. So if I had to give you an answer right now, not very confident. And I think that's most of the people who are the fans of this team or cover this team. It's hard to be very confident and say, yeah, I think Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, they're going to take the right guy in April or 2027, whenever they take their quarterback, just given how inconsistent and how poor Aaron Glenn's ability to evaluate quarterbacks has been so far. It's just hard to do that. It's hard to look at Glenn and his tenure with the Jets so far and say you feel confident in his ability to evaluate quarterback play. We'll wrap with this one from M. Vallette, who says, are we running a head coach training program while burning football seasons and dumping Hall of Famers? What are we doing? Dumping Hall of Famers when you talk about Aaron Rodgers there. That's a whole nother conversation. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has even been very good with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's been very similar to what he was with the Jets last year. And when you talk about Glenn, fans really do like to lower their shoulder into him because at the end of the day, I'm not going to say he promised the fan base utopia in the offseason, but when he came in, he took the expectations of this fan base, which were very, very, very low at the time, and significantly raised them by saying, oh, this is the same old Jets. This is a different team. This team is going to compete. We're going to be a team that makes our fans proud every single week. I think if he just kind of came in and didn't do that whole shtick and didn't raise the expectations for this entire fan base, it wouldn't be as bad when you talk about the criticism of Glenn so far. So I think much of the criticism he's received is self-inflicted. And I think that's important to note at the end of the day. Overall, he's going to have all of next year. He's going to have all of 2027, most likely all of 2028 as well. So that's the very least. So he continues to have buy-in from the players, and I give him credit for that. That's the one thing I can confidently sit and say I give Glenn credit for. These players are playing the final whistle for him, despite this putrid record, despite the headlines every single week. This team has been playing to the final whistle and playing very, very hard for Aaron Glenn. I'll give him credit for that. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Connor Long right here with you guys on a Saturday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. That'll do it for me. I appreciate your support as always. Again, smash the like, hit subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. More insight on this team. Follow my written work, jetsxfactor.com. Again, thank you all. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the kind words as always. That'll do it for me right here on NY Flight Jets Talk. I'm Connor Long saying, have a great rest of your Saturday, everyone. And as always, JTS, baby. Jets, Jets, Jets. Peace out, folks.